Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tyler and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of my 1-year ownership of the Frontier Airlines World Mastercard. I'm going to be going over my spending, points earned, and money saved with the benefits that are on the card. And if I do say so myself, the value that I've managed to get from this card blew my mind. It's honestly insane. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I'm sure a lot of you in the credit card space, immediately when I said the Frontier Airlines World Mastercard, asked the question of, why did you even get this card? And yes, while most people might consider this a questionable decision, let me tell you why, at least for me, this card made sense. When I applied for the card on May 12th of 2024, I was only 19, working for an hourly rate at an auto parts store, and I was also in school. My budget for travel was relatively tight, so for me, budget airlines were really the only way that I could travel as much as I wanted to. And even though budget airlines aren't known for the best flying experience, I was willing to sacrifice at least a little bit of comfort to be able to afford to travel at such a young age. When I got this card, the welcome offer was an elevated offer of 60,000 points, one allocation being 40,000 points after spending 500 in the first 90 days, and then an additional 20,000 points after spending $2,000 in the first 180 days. This offer may sound familiar because it's the new standard welcome offer. Back then, really the only offer that you could find was a 50,000 point welcome bonus after spending 500 in the first 90 days. So finding that welcome offer made the card even more appealing. Also, the annual fee was only $89. Nowadays, the annual fee is $99. Given that they've added some more perks to the card, like being able to earn Gold Elite status after a certain amount of spend. So now that I've broken down why the card was appealing to me specifically, let's go over my spending over 1 year, points earned, and then we'll get into the money saved from the benefits. So now we're going to talk about my spend over 1 year, and just a little note for this section, I will be using the abbreviation ROS, and that just stands for return on spend, which is a ratio of cash value of the points earned to the money spent. Another note is that the higher the returned on spend percentage is on non-welcome offer months, the better I was able to spend in those elevated multipliers, which are 5x on Frontier purchases, 3x on restaurants, and 1x on everything else. So the higher the return on spend percentage means I was able to hit those two higher spend multipliers more often throughout the month, meaning I got more value for the money spent. So let's get into month one, which is starting on May 12th of 2024 and goes through June 11th of 2024. So in that month, I earned 40,932 points from $889.63 of spend. 40,000 of those points came from earning the welcome bonus, which was the 40,000 points after spending 500 in the first 3 months. And the remaining 932 came from just the spend. The points earned in this month are worth $470.72 cash, and the return on spend percentage for this month is a really high 52.9%. Obviously, this return on spend percentage is so high because I got that 40,000 points from the welcome bonus. So in my second month, that goes from June 12th to July 11th, I earned 758 miles from $163.12 of spend. Miles earned were worth $8.72 cash value, and that is a return on spend percentage of 5.34. The percentage you see in this month is a little bit more comparable to what you would usually see in a normal month of spend. So this next statement goes from July 12th all the way to September 11th. And in that amount of time, I earned 1,121 miles after $247.62 of spend. The cash value of these miles is $12.88, and that is a 5.2% return on spend. The next statement goes from September 12th to October 11th. And in this statement period, I earned the second half of the welcome offer, which is an additional 20,000 points after spending $2,000 in the first 180 days. So in total, I earned 21,682 miles from $1,640 of spend. Again, 20,000 of those miles coming from the welcome bonus, and another 1,682 coming from just spend. That is a cash value of $249.34, and that gives my return on spend a 15.2%. The next statement period goes from October 12th to November 11th, and during this month, I only did about $18 of spend on the card. It would have been $334 of spend on the card, but I refunded and returned the item that I had bought with the card, so I got that as a refund. So not much spend on this month. The points themselves are only worth about 20 cents. And with how low the spend is, that's still a 1% return on spend, so could be worse. The next statement goes from November 12th to December 11th, and I did no spend on the card during this statement cycle. I was working towards a welcome bonus for another card that my girlfriend had got that I was an authorized user on. So that's why there wasn't a lot of spend on the Frontier card. Same thing for this next statement period, which goes from December 12th to January 11th. There was no spend on the card again because of the working towards the welcome bonus of another card. So wasn't able to spend a whole lot on the Frontier card in the cycle. The next statement cycle goes from January 12th to February 11th. And during this statement cycle, I did pick up on spending again. So I ended up spending $49.29 on the Frontier card, earning 193 miles. This is a cash value of $2.22. And this is a 4.5% return on spend. The next statement period goes from February 12th to March 11th. And in this statement period, I earned 599 miles from $122.83 of spend. This is a cash value of $6.89. And this makes my return on spend percentage a 5.6%. The next statement cycle goes from March 12th to April 11th. And during this cycle, I earned 3,800 miles from $1,167 of spend. The miles earned here are worth $43.70. And this is a return on spend of 3.7%. For this month, I was working towards a $100 flight voucher from Frontier after spending $2,500 in a calendar year. I did get the flight voucher, so my real return on spend is 4.1% when subtracting $100 from the total spend of that month. In the final billing cycle of my first year of having the Frontier card, I earned 1,615 miles from $458 of spend, which is a cash value of $18.57, and this is a 4.1% return on spend. So all these numbers from all these totals of all these months from this past year put me at $4,755.02 of spend over the year. I earned 70,717 miles. This does include the 60,000 miles from the welcome bonus. Just spending alone earned me 10,717 miles. The valuation for Frontier points I've been using this video comes straight from the Points Guy website, and it is a valuation of 1.15 cents per point. The value of the points earned just from spend is $123.25. With the value of the points earned from spending over 1 year being $123, it covers the $89 annual fee and then some. So with the amount of points earned from spend, it is an overall net positive for me this past year to have had this card. Also, I did spend outside the main multipliers, so Frontier and restaurants, quite a bit in order to hit these welcome bonuses. So if you're smarter about your spend and utilize the card for only restaurants and flying Frontier, you can actually end up spending a lot less money than what I had to spend and still get a very good return on your spend and be able to outweigh that annual fee, even with it being up $10 on the past year. The value of the points earned, including the welcome bonus, is at $813.25, which makes the return on spend for the past year at 17%. And we find that by taking that $813.25 and dividing it by our $4,755, and then we get that percentage. The return on spend from just the welcome bonus and the spend required for that welcome bonus is at 34.5%. And we take that cash value of the welcome offer points, which ends up being $690, divide that by 2,000, and we get 34.5%. So overall, my totals from this year put this card at a net positive. Now on to the biggest section of this video in terms of savings with this card, and that is money saved from the benefits. Now we're mainly going to be talking about the 2 free checked bags that this card comes with, because I don't really find much value from the priority boarding zone 2 that the card also offers as well. So in August of 2024, me and my girlfriend both took a trip to San Diego from Atlanta, which we checked 2 bags for free using this Frontier card. The cost for 2 checked bags, 40 pounds or less on Frontier, is $103 one way. So with our flight being a round trip flight, you have to double that amount, which puts that $206. So having this card and using the 2 free checked bags on any round trip that I book using it, I immediately save $206. And I've used this feature on 3 other trips as well. So one being from Atlanta to Las Vegas. That was also a round trip, so we're gonna add another $206. One from Atlanta to LAX. That was also a round trip, so we're gonna add another $206. And the last one being from Atlanta to JFK. That was also a round trip, so we're gonna add yet another $206 to this total. All of these trips happened within a year of having the card and therefore add value to the first year of ownership. If we take that 206, multiply it times 4, you've got a total of $824 of savings over 1 year. From a card that only has an annual fee of $89 or $99 now, this is insane value and really helps the card hold its place in my wallet for multiple years to come and as long as I'm still flying Frontier. So after looking at a year of spend, points earned and their value, and money saved from the benefits on this card, what are my overall thoughts? Overall, my opinion on the Frontier card is that if it wasn't associated with Frontier Airlines, everyone would hold it in a much higher regard. However, given that the card is associated with an ultra budget airline, there does come some lackluster reputation. Although this is true in some light, especially when comparing to legacy airlines such as Delta and American Airlines. However, speaking from personal experience, the money saved not only from flying Frontier in the first place, but also from having this card as well is much more worth it to be able to have that extra money to spend at your destination. Given my positive overall experience and positive net value earned from holding this card, I will likely continue to hold this card, if not in my wallet, at least keep the account open for the next year and then reevaluate when the next year comes. This is especially easy to do as well, given that around the time of my renewal, I called the Barclays Frontier retention line and asked if there was any retention offers available to me to persuade me to actually keep the card open, and they were able to waive the next year's annual fee. So immediately I'm starting off not having to pay the annual fee, which is a big plus. So honestly, there's only value to be had from having this card, in my opinion, and especially if I keep flying Frontier. So guys, I hope this video gave you a good look into what a year of ownership of one of these budget airline cards might be like, and I hope you were able to see the insane value that can be had from these cards if it works for your situation, of course. I hope that I may have even swayed your opinion in favor of some of these budget airlines, because in my opinion, the sacrifice that you make for the comfort on the way there is worth it overall because of the money that you save and can actually apply to your trip and your destination wherever you're going. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video. This was very fun to make and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I hope to see you in the next one.